Hey all, Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the north, more specifically Baraboo, Wisconsin. I'm joined today by Trevor Widow. We are about to head into the International Clown Hall of Fame. Now you're very familiar with this institution, correct?
Oh yes.
Alright, so you're going to show me around?
Greg hopefully will.
Okay, let's head in. Let's start with, how did the Clown Hall of Fame begin?
The Clown Hall of Fame began in 1986 as a project between the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, their business department, and the Delavan Chamber of Commerce. Delavan is where the Hall of Fame actually began. And they were given a task to come up with a project to create something that would drive tourism to Delavan. Delavan has a circus lineage similar to Baraboo, and they did their numbers, and they actually made out like a prototype, and it actually worked. And so luckily they picked clowns, otherwise you would be videotaping in the Lion Tamer Hall of Fame right now.
The Lion Tamer Hall of Fame. Does that exist? Or
no, it's just clowns.
Okay.
And so, so yeah, it actually opened in Delavan in 1986. It was there for about 13 years. Moved to Milwaukee. Tried to find a home there, didn't. Everything kind of went into storage for a few years, and then at some point they called me and they said, we have two options. We can either sell this stuff on eBay, or you come get it.
So you went and got it?
So yeah, so it's been here. We opened in May of 2010.
Okay.
So this is our 7th summer season, I guess.
Okay, so let's see what you got here.
Sure. A little bit of everything.
Oh wow.
Do you know how many types of clowns there are?
He was explaining this to me at Circus World. Is it 3 main types of clowns?
That's
Of course, it says it. It says it right there.
There you go.
But
Usually the 4th graders will go for about 40
But I would have known that because he did already tell me that once today.
You got cheat sheet here, so that's good. But yeah, all clowns in the world are one of these 3 types: a white face,
So a white face,
or a character.
Okay, so the shorthand version, the white face is like
Kind of the
authority figure.
Boss. Auguste is the dumber one.
That gets bullied around.
Slapstickish. And they usually work together as a team a lot of times.
Okay.
The white face and the Auguste, they developed in Europe. The character clown is the only one that's truly an American-style circus clown. It actually came out of the Great Depression. After the stock market crash, a lot of people out of work, a lot of men out of work. They were hobos. They rode the rails. And this is what kind of came out of it. So that's why you see a lot of the clowns they didn't shave, so that's why they have the beard
like
painted on.
Caricature of the American hobo, basically.
Exactly, yeah. And you don't see many of them anymore because now it's kind of politically incorrect because you're sort of making fun of the homeless people. So
that bothers some people.
They don't really like that so much. So character clowns, they tend to be more like like bellhops or doctors or grandmas or eccentrics and things like that. So you don't see a whole lot of.
So they're just exaggerated versions of professions, basically.
Yeah.
This is
You do the tour.
Arthur Peddler.
You're the one who knows the most.
No, you'd be surprised how many people know that. We test them when they come in. If you've been here more than once, just have to give a tour. Like if you come this summer, you're gonna have to give a tour.
Some vintage clown shoes.
Those are slap shoes.
Slap shoes.
They were using vaudeville. They're made off a mold of your foot, which makes it the most comfortable shoe in the world.
Really?
Also makes it the most expensive shoe in the world.
So we should all be wearing clown shoes.
Should. Yeah. And they're stuffed with the older ones are stuffed with horsehair.
Okay, so it's like pad on the inside where it fits your foot perfect.
Fits your foot perfect. So they can be in any shape, style. They can be on roller skates. They can have chicken feet.
Oh, those chicken feet are cool.
The hobos, a lot of times, like their
big toes sticking out.
If you want to start out when you're young, you go with the little baby clown feet. It gets expensive because kids' shoes grow. These are drag shoes. These belong to a clown, Gene Lewis, who was pretty prominent clown in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. He was really thin, and he did drag a lot, way before RuPaul. And his whole thing was he played up his skinniness. So instead of oversized bosoms, he would use ping pong balls. And these were some of his shoes that he wore, and these were actually given to him by Milton Berle.
Oh, wow.
Who was known to put on a dress every once in a while. And so, yeah, these are
So would it be fair to say that clowns invented the drag show?
I don't know if they invented it, but they certainly made it colorful. That's for sure. And we've had a lot. Actually, we have a lot of drag queens come through here. And
Really?
Well, it's this much. Zhuzh. They love it. So it's very, very popular with them. They actually want to have their own museum. So. And those heads were used.
Now, did I hear the Clown College does not exist anymore?
The Clown College does not exist. It is, hammer, yeah. This is a really old one. This was from like the 40s, and it's handmade. And in the old days, what they would do is they would take a 32 blank and put it in there, and then there's a little bit of a screw and a nail, and it just kind of sit on the primer, and then you'd close this very gently. And then
you crack it over someone's head.
Well, I would go for the butt on these kind, but yeah, it basically did that, and then it would, the smoke would come out there. I don't know if this would get passed by the OSHA or
yeah, safety first.
But even when I was on the show, we did use props like that.
Put a bullet inside a hammer and then hit you with it.
Getting hit in the head. See, that's when you want to be the white face, because they're the ones who hold the
They're the ones
hammer.
that can.
Because the Augusts usually get hit by the hammer.
And that's Emmett Kelly.
Emmett Kelly.
Yes.
Probably the one name a lot of people do know. If you had a name like a circus clown, they'd say probably Emmett Kelly. And he was actually, as good a clown as he was really a great businessman. Because around 1947, Ringling made these dolls that they used to sell in the concessions. And they sold them, and they were sell out, and everybody was happy, except Emmett Kelly. Because he didn't make a dime with it. So he got a business partner. They learned about licensing and branding and things. So he came up with his own line of merchandise.
Oh, apparently he was advertising for Coca-Cola.
He advertised Coca-Cola. He made these dolls. He made puzzles and banks and decanter. You take his head off and have a drink. There was coloring books. He was slick enough to actually convince a toy company in the 1960s to make an Emmett Kelly ventriloquist doll, which doesn't seem like much, except that his character never talked. So
This is silent. It's the world's easiest ventriloquist.
yeah, it really is pretty darn slick for him to do that.
Oh, here's a rubber nose.
We had a first aid kit in Clown Alley, but if you got cut, you really didn't want it.
I love this giant bloody tooth. That's
Yeah, they got the clown. That was usually it's the wrong tooth they pull out too.
philosophical clown question. So how connected is a clown or a person with their clown identity? Do they switch it around, or are they pretty much sealed into like one clown persona?
I think you're born a clown. It's not like acting, like where you're playing a role of a clown. You are your clown. It's just an exaggeration of your personality.
So your clown is inside you already.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can't. Clown college, they used to teach us like juggling and still walking and pie throwing and all this stuff. They didn't teach you how to be funny. You had to be funny before you got there. So.
And so did they encourage you to develop your own?
Yeah,
your own clown.
You kind of know when it works because it's really you. It's really, you're not putting on a mask. You're just exaggerating your face to be seen. So I think that's why I think sometimes clowning is looked at like you can go to a store and buy a pair of baggy pants and a red nose and big shoes and a wig, and then people put all that on and they go, I'm a clown. It's like, well, no, you look like a clown. I can put on a doctor coat, and a stethoscope, but no one's going to let me do surgery because I look like a doctor. So, it's more than the stuff that, like all the stuff, like the shoes, the wigs, and all that, it's external.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you could, like, Carol Burnett's a clown. The Three Stooges are clowns. Laurel and Hardy are clowns.
Equestrian, right? Equestrian clown, yeah. Yep. Horseback.
And then, how many dogs?
6.
6 dogs. Skunk, trumpet, suitcase.
2
2.
suitcases.
2 suitcases. All in that.
And Bobo was 6'3", weighed 240.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
And actually, it'll come on the reel here pretty quick. He did the act on the Ed Sullivan Show, and
Yeah, I don't even know if I could fit myself in there.
Well, you can never. He built it in 1947, and he used it until he retired in 1973. And when his daughter gave it to us, all we had to do is put a battery in, and it runs.
All right, so. Oh, goodness.
Have you guys settled down in your? Did you get the apartment or something? Or
We're going to.
in
Washington.
Washington?
Yes.
Okay.
That won't be until September that I fully move out there.
Oh, that's what. So you're going to switch colleges out there too and everything, or are you going to?
Yeah. Because right now, I need the money. Choreographing is only paying me so much.
Like show business is not fruitful. I find that hard. That's like saying museums don't make money. I had no idea. This not-for-profit thing is.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean not-for-profit?
Didn't Lou Jacobs do the same thing with Knucklehead?
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, Lou's car is actually a lot smaller than that because Lou was about 6 feet 6'1", but he was much thinner and he was a contortionist, so he could make the car really. It looks like it might be cleared up a little bit. Yeah, it was remember the Bozo show.
Yes. Here's a clown from my childhood, Cookie the Clown. See, Bozo is a member of the, or is inducted.
He's Bob Bell has been inducted. Bob Bell portrayed Bozo for the first 20 maybe years.
Now, is there clear this up for me once and for all? Is there more than one? Was there more than one Bozo active at a time?
That's like asking if there's more than one Santa Claus.
Okay, you don't have to answer that.
I plead the fifth. Yeah, actually, there was a Bozo was a licensed character. So if you grew up in New York, you have a Bozo in New York or Boston or Texas.
Yes, because I remember growing up and it seemed like a local show, but then everyone
eventually it became the WGN because of it became a superstation and they got the cable. So then they could just stop making local shows and they just projected that one out. So
the Chicago one was the
last Bozo. WGN's Bozo was the last Bozo show that ran the longest. I think it was over 30 years. And there was Bob Bell played Bozo originally, and then Joey Diora was the second Bozo. So I don't know how old you are, but you may have seen Bob Bell. You may have seen Joey.
36.
You probably saw Joey. Maybe you caught the tail end of Bob Bell. Bob Bell. They based the voice of Krusty the Clown.
Oh, really?
On Bob Bell's interpretation of Bozo. So if you ever see if you Google Bob Bell Bozo and you watch a tape, he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like it's got that. I'm like, well, that might have been a little scary for a kid, but yeah, it was. They based it kind of on his delivery, I guess.
In the clown world, is Stephen King pretty much considered the devil?
I guess it depends who you ask.
Yeah.
I like these books. I have no problem with it and the Pennywise and all that stuff. I mean, I look at it as like it's a fictional character. It's in a book. It's what it is. It's not really a clown. I've never had anybody come in here that truly was scared of clowns that left here scared of clowns. So I just think I think you just have to look at it from the realistic point of view. I mean, maybe if you were a little kid, that might be something but it's like Santa Claus. If you were a little kid, Santa Claus could be scary.
Yeah.
You know, and then I don't have a lot of tolerance for the teenage girls who come in here who wear more makeup than most of these clowns. So those I cut very little slack. But everybody else, you know, once we start talking about it, a lot of times I'll do a show for kids and I will actually put my makeup on for them. So
Yeah.
they see it. Then they see the process and they go, oh, you're a person in makeup and you play a clown. So that kind of helps. But I don't have a personal vendetta against Stephen King or anything like that. I mean, I think I don't even like to talk about it too much because it kind of feeds it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's what it is. And I think they're remaking the movie, so I'm sure there'll be people coming going, is there it in here? $8 you can find out.
He is?
Yeah, and he's going to be selling prints, signing them. Burial and stuff like that, too. And ringmasters, some of the famous ringmasters are coming back. Sing.
See where he puts them.
Is this a literal slapstick?
Yep.
That would be fun.
Oh, it has total hits per show, 7 performances. It went through 978 performances, 6,846 hit to the butts, hits to Joey's head, 978.
That doesn't seem safe.
Total hits 7,824.
Jeez.
He had a couch, and he'd make these foam props for all these different clowns. Well, they would go in, and the clown, you know, whoever wanted to have him make a prop for them, they would sit on the couch, you know, talk about it. And then, you know, the next week, they would come in, there would be no couch, and he'd have all of it. And then he would need to buy a new couch, because...
You just dig it out of his own crown?
Yep.
That's crazy. It's Mark Anthony.
He always performed with dogs, and his favorite dog, this is the collar of his favorite dog. I forgot what her name was, but as soon as that dog died, he always wore a collar in her honor.
Wore the dog's collar.
Yeah, so you can tell before in photos before she died and after she died, because
That is the International Clown Hall of Fame. I want to thank Trevor for coming along with me. I want to thank Greg. He's busy with some other guests over there. But anyways, appreciate you guys watching. This one's in the bag.